It's been a busy week in the Inland Northwest, so let's get you caught up with the KREM 2 News Week in Review. I'm Cody Proctor. Thanks for being here with us. Over the next half hour, we'll take a look back at some of the news you might have missed from the past week. So let's get started with one of the biggest stories from the Inland Northwest.
We've been trying to do this for over a month.
Central Valley Board member Anise Barker emphasizes what she says is both an ongoing and urgent need to send a written complaint against the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction and the Washington Interscholastic Activities Association, or WIAA. The complaint accuses the state of violating protections for student athletes by allowing transgender athletes to compete in sports based on the sex they identify as. Some members say this goes against a federal law protecting from sex-based discrimination in public schools, known as Title IX.
They are competing for second place instead of first because there is a male on their starting line. We have got to protect these girls.
Barker wrote the first of multiple drafts of the complaint addressed to the Office of Civil Rights in the U.S. Department of Education. It argues OSPI and WIAA are going against federal policies by not banning transgender athletes from competing in sports for the sex they weren't assigned at birth. They worry that could ruin $12.8 million in federal funding the district has for the 2024-25 school year. But the decision was met with some opposition.
My great disappointment that we as a school board are not able to find some kind of an alternative to a ban.
Board member Cynthia McMullen spoke against sending the complaint, saying the people she's worried about are different.
It is, in fact, a challenge against students and family members in our community who have self-identified as trans or, in this particular case, trans.
The board ultimately voted 3-2 in favor of sending two drafts of the letter, both with similar language. School board president Stephanie Jordan says while opinions across the board vary, she's relieved the vote went through simply to start a conversation on whose rules to follow.
No one is saying break the law. No one's even saying change policy, but we're bringing this to everyone's attention.
Right now, Washington state school districts are caught in the middle of conflicting state and federal Title IX directives. They worry how this dispute will impact funding resources. So I looked through the 2024-2025 budgets for the top 5 major school districts in Spokane County to find out how much funding could be at risk.
These are the totals for each school district's estimated revenue from state and federal resources. Districts won't have the actual total until the end of the school year. If school districts violate state or federal laws, this is how much they would lose. This year, Spokane Public Schools is estimated to receive more than $415 million from the state and $50 million in federal funding. Central Valley School District estimates nearly $14 million in federal dollars. Another way to look at this is the percentage of these revenue sources. For the most part, state dollars make up the largest amount of school district funding. Meanwhile, federal dollars make up between 5 to 8% of projected revenue. While the federal government funds a smaller portion of these school district budgets, those dollars fund impactful programs. Across the board, most of the federal revenue funds special education programs, such as the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. It's a federal law guaranteeing free and appropriate education for children with disabilities, ensuring they receive special education services. Some federal dollars also fund Title I, II, and III programs, which support struggling students, especially in low-income areas, trains teaching staff, and supports immigrant students in their English language development.
For now, Washington school districts are actively seeking guidance on which directives to follow to ensure they still receive both state and federal funding. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Well, I'll tell you what, we have spent several hours here at the Spokane International Airport. The busiest time was definitely around 4:30 to 5 o'clock this morning. Those TSA lines right here behind us, they were quite a bit long, but they had all hands on deck. They were pushing all of the travelers through, and it was a smooth process. So we've been speaking with travelers, we've been speaking with some of those TSA officials, and the key message with this new deadline that's in place, these new security standards, is that if you don't have a real ID. There are other acceptable forms of identification. I'll go ahead and share that with you here really quick. So to start things off, a U.S. passport or a passport card, that's considered a proper form of identification. Enhanced driver's license, that's actually another important one. And anyone in Washington State who's signing up to get a real ID, that's actually what you'll end up receiving, an enhanced driver's license, military credentials, global entry, or Nexus cards. You can find a full list of acceptable ID on TSA.gov, but if you have none of those, you will likely run into some delays and have to go through extra security screening. We got a chance to speak with some travelers who were well prepared here as they arrived today. Were you aware that, hey, this is a new security standards going into place today?
Yeah, we had kind of heard about that. We both had passports and we're actually traveling international, so it wasn't a super big deal to us. But yeah, a little bit of anxiety going into things.
Oh yeah, well, is it nice to kind of see? Oh, it's really calm over here, huh?
Yeah, it's been nice. Yeah, every once in a while it gets pretty busy, so we're pretty happy with it today.
Yeah, so again, if you don't have the proper identification, you could be subjected to an additional 30 minutes to possibly an hour of extra security screening. So just make sure you're prepared for that. Check again, TSA.gov to see those acceptable IDs that you can use here at the airport. But again, in some of our other conversations too, what I took away is that not too many people had a major problem. And then you can see again, just right here behind us, security is moving nice and smooth. We didn't see any major backups outside of what would be a typical day here at the airport. But yeah, again, everything looked like a typical day here at the Spokane International Airport. For now, reporting here in the airport, Brandon T. Jones, KREM 2 News.
Well, with that Real ID deadline just hours away, the wait times and lines here at the Spokane Valley DOL hit more than 3 hours for walk-ins. The minimum wait, around an hour every day.
Hi, how are you?
Expect friendly, helpful customer service at your local licensing office, but heads up,
There is upwards of a 3-hour wait for my walk-ins right now.
expect lots of other customers too. Real ID requirements take effect 2 decades after the federal Real ID law passed.
When I first got up there, they told me like 3 hours, so this is pretty good compared to that.
High school senior Brooklyn Hillman sat in line instead of class.
I don't know, procrastination, pretty much. Yeah, we're leaving on a trip tomorrow, so.
Hawaii bound, maybe.
Yeah.
You'll need a Real ID or another enhanced type of identification to access certain federal buildings or to fly starting Wednesday. Or you could face extra TSA screening. You may even be turned away at airport security. Kay Zagalo already made 2 trips in 1 day trying to update her license.
So I have to come back a third time because apparently my document was not sufficient.
She now has to contact the state of Oregon, where she was married, to get official proof of her nuptials.
So that's pretty frustrating because we leave on the 19th for a trip. So probably Department of Motor Vehicles needs to get that information out more, what's acceptable.
Now serving 913 at counter 12.
Donovan isn't even here for a Real ID, but got caught in an hour wait anyway.
I just get my daughter's driver's license, so eye test and her picture.
As of February, only 26% of Washington drivers had an enhanced ID like Donovan, so the rush is real.
Some days you wait, some days you don't.
And if you're on a pre-flight time crunch, your wait may not be over. It can take up to 10 days to get your physical copy of Real ID in the mail. Kay is hoping she'll make it somehow.
So we'll get to the airport early and just hopefully get to go on the plane.
Now, if you're looking to make an appointment to cut down on that walk-in wait time, I got some bad news. You're still going to face some delays. The office here in Spokane Valley and the DOL in Spokane are booked out until early June. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
As we go to break, here's a check of your weekend forecast. Welcome back to the KREM 2 News Week in Review. Each weekend, we walk you through headlines from the past week in the Inland Northwest.
Well, the Associated Press reports that 5.3 million borrowers are already in default and another 4 million are 91 to 180 days late on their loan payments.
When you click onto the federal student aid website, it says if you haven't made a payment in more than 360 days, you may be in default.
It can be overwhelming. There's a lot of emotions tied up with money and with debt and with borrowing.
Which is why we asked Gonzaga University's financial aid office what concerns they're hearing from their student body.
We have heard from a few students that are having a difficult time getting a hold of their loan servicer, whether that be in the form of long wait times or just not quite sure who to go to because maybe their servicer has moved or changed since the last time they made payments on a loan. So we're trying to provide the support that we can there.
The Education Data Initiative reports Washington State has about 780,000 student loan borrowers, compared to 217,000 in Idaho. Despite the difference, the average debt per borrower in both states is around $28,000. Do the math, this totals roughly $21.8 billion in Washington State and $6 billion in Idaho. The Education Data Initiative says 6 major things can happen when borrowers go into default.
If you're in default, you're not eligible to receive any federal financial aid.
Everything from calling in the entire loan to withholding any proof that a student attended the school. And if borrowers are trying to make efforts to pay back, Gonzaga says to make a paper trail.
Walking through this stuff is to just keep those administrative notes to make sure, again, you're documenting all of your efforts to try to make payments or make arrangements in good faith.
There are some options to get out of default, obviously paying in full, which likely many can't do. But there are Fresh Start programs, loan consolidation, or rehabilitation options, but experts say some have to be done right away.
Looking ahead, after giving a 30-day warning to borrowers, the government can start taking money directly from the paychecks of people who haven't been paying their student loans. I'm reporting right here on Gonzaga campus. Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
How would it impact your life if this place closed?
I mean, that would be a big trouble.
Ryade Pharmacy customers are worried.
If we shut down, I really don't know where I can get the medicines from, like nearby here.
Worried for themselves and others in Washington.
I know a lot of elderly people who struggle a lot getting to pharmacies when it's way out of the way.
For the second time in a year and a half, Ryade has declared bankruptcy. This time is different. Its CEO says they're going to have to sell or close. In a news release, they wrote, the company is working to facilitate a smooth transfer of customer prescriptions to other pharmacies. The potential closures could add to what are known as pharmacy deserts in the state.
Reducing that number is really going to increase the desert size.
According to a 2022 University of Washington study, since COVID, 1.2 million Washingtonians don't live close to a pharmacy, making them less likely to get prescriptions or vaccines. Ryade owns 1 in 10 pharmacies in Washington state. That means, on the chopping block, 95 Ryades and 39 Bartell drugstores, also owned by Ryade.
We've already had some patients switch over to us.
Even if the corporation does sell,
we're just seeing more and more trouble. It's just going to continue to get worse until we continue to pass some more legislation.
Washington independent pharmacist Matt Binder says the owners of mail-order pharmacies make it hard for anyone to compete.
Even the biggest chains, which can buy drugs cheaper than any independent can, are having some major problems with these PBMs.
Kind of sucks. Like, it's nice to have that option to be able to go get things you need.
Maddie White, King 5 News.
From that very first time, I still remember it because they could tell I was nervous. They made me feel so comforted and welcomed and let me know that my kids were going to be loved and taken care of. They did what I would have done, and that's all I could really ever ask. It's really amazing.
Thanks for joining KREM 2 News this weekend. I'm Cody Proctor. Right now, we're taking a look back at some of the news stories from the past week.
I'm in Bonners Ferry, about 30 miles away from the Canadian border. Here, the Canadian flag is flown next to the Idaho flag and United States flag, and tonight City Council approved a unique resolution making sure that can continue. Bonners Ferry, population just over 2,500, has a special relationship with Canada. Just ask 50-year-long neighbor Cal Russell about his time growing up here.
You'd go to Canada to play volleyball and baseball and softball. They're kind of part of our community.
That's why he wasn't happy when the Canadian flag, flown adjacent to the Idaho state flag and American flag, was taken down a couple of weeks ago.
Which has flown here as long as I can remember.
It was taken down due to the Idaho state legislature passing House Bill 96 into law. It excludes any flags that aren't the state of Idaho or the American flag from being flown on government property, except for special occasions.
Every day here is a special occasion dealing with our Canadian neighbors.
Rick Alonzo is the mayor of Bonners Ferry. He and other members of City Council unanimously passed a resolution saying 365 days a year marks a special occasion being neighbors with Canada, and to celebrate, they must fly their and their neighbor's flag side by side. Do you think on a leap year that might cause an issue for that one day? Or?
It might be. We might have to take it down one day a year every 4.
Alonzo says the decision was an easy one for him and other City Council members who respect their proximity to Canada. He says now it's a waiting game once the resolution passing makes its way to the state.
Now we'll see what happens with the Attorney General's office, whether they want to dispute our resolution or let it stand.
Meanwhile, folks like Russell can walk down the street and see the third of 3 flags he's proud to have waving home.
No, we don't want to flaunt our legal system, but it just doesn't seem right.
Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
You know, the person receiving those is going to be super thankful, and we wouldn't use it if we didn't need it. It's super helpful, and I wish I could, you know, send a thank you letter to everybody. Yeah, it's amazing.
Welcome back to the KREM 2 News, a week in review. I hope you're having a great weekend. Let's get back to one more story you might have missed this past week.
A trolley pub could soon be rolling through Cordelane streets, and all of those tours would start right here outside Jeremiah Johnson's brewery. The proposed trolley pub is powered by its riders and can hold 16 people. The rides are about 2 hours through downtown city streets with stops along the way. There will be a family-friendly tour that takes a scenic route with views of the lake and stopping at the carousel. The adults tour for ages 21 and up would stop at Crafted and Burger Dock.
I saw one when I was on vacation one weekend and thought it looked like a great idea.
Owner Keenan Johnson is excited to launch this new way to experience Coeur d'Alene.
You do not have to come athletic. I would suggest you wear some good closed-toe shoes, something that you're able to pedal in. But like I said, you don't have to pedal. It is got a motor assist.
Data from Visit Idaho shows tourism in North Idaho is trending up. Totals from 2023 show a $417 million travel spending increase since 2020.
It's another thing that brings more people here.
Mark Robitaille with Visit Coeur d'Alene sees this new trolley pub as a win-win for local businesses and visitors.
And we've seen some various businesses come in, this being one of them, and it is another asset to what we already have. And I think it's a good attraction because people are looking for things to do.
With City Council approval, trolley pub rides could start as soon as this week and last all summer long. Reporting in Coeur d'Alene, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Keep it here for more news and weather updates throughout the weekend. And don't forget, you can watch our latest newscasts anytime on your schedule on KREM 2 Plus. Download and watch right now for free. I'm Cody Proctor. Thank you for watching KREM 2 News Week in Review.